today's video, we'll be looking at interesting TikToks that will blow your mind.
This man cheated death 7 times, but what happened next will shock you. His name is Franz Selick, and when he was 33 years old, his train crashed into a river, killing 17 people, but he managed...
I'm sorry, we're only 14 seconds in, but those first 2 numbers are kind of crazy numbers that they start off with. 7, you know, and then 33. We all know that 33 is a crazy number, right?
To survive. 1 year later, he was flying on an airplane when the plane doors blew open and he blew out with it. All 17 passengers and crew would pass away in the crash, but against all odds, Franz survived by landing on a haystack. 4 years later, he was on a bus that plunged into a river, killing 4 people, but not him. Over the next 3 years, his gas tank would explode 2 separate times, but he escaped both incidents without any major injuries. Soon after that, while walking, he was hit by a bus, but survived with only a few injuries. But in 2003, his life changed forever. He went on to win $1 million in the Croatian lottery. He truly is the most lucky person ever. Here are some cities that you will believe actually exist. Number 1 is Whittier, Alaska, where all residents live in the same building. All the residents of the city live in this 14-level building that used to be a former military facility. Inside, it has a school, a police station, a hospital, stores, a church, and more. Number 2 is Miracle Village in Florida. That is a city where only sex offenders live. The sex offenders decided to create their own city out in the middle of nowhere since it's hard for them to find places to live due to their criminal records. Number 3 is the sleeping city of Kalachi, where the residents just randomly fall asleep, even while walking. Between 2012 and 2015, the residents of Kalachi would suddenly begin to slur their words and then fall into a deep sleep that would last days or even weeks. Scientists eventually discovered that it was caused by heightened levels of carbon monoxide from Soviet-era uranium mines in the area.
That makes sense now.
Terrifying coincidences caught on live TV.
During a court case TV show, the man in the court makes a joke about the police officer's wife and the police officer.
Oh, that's true.
He seemed upset, I believe, though. Something like that.
Over 20
Look at him, though. He look mad. You don't look happy, brother.
He got everybody cracking up.
You don't look happy.
Even the judge laughing.
A former TV show bailiff and current Harris County deputy charged with his wife's murder now ordered not to attend her funeral.
Facts about money that will blow your mind. You are more likely to die in a car accident on your way to buy a lottery ticket than you are winning the lottery. LeBron James will make about 3 times more money with his NBA salary than all 151 WNBA players combined.
Look at that.
The mascot for the Denver Nuggets basketball team will also make about 3 times more money than the highest paid WNBA player. George Clooney once gave 14 of his closest friends $1 million as a surprise gift with one condition. They all had to take it or none of them got it.
That's a creepy
if you started
photo
with
right there.
1 penny and doubled your money every single day, it would take you less than 28 days to become a millionaire.
That's it?
A lawyer made a deal with a 90-year-old woman that said if he paid her rent every single month, he would keep the apartment after she died. He died 1 year before she did, over 30 years later. The lawyer ended up paying $180,000 for an apartment that he never lived in. Follow for more.
Yo, she lived rent-free for 30 years. This man really thought he was going to move into the apartment. She was not going. 121 years old? 21.
Can you do something for me?
Islands that are illegal to visit.
I always wanted to go onto an island. But not that island. Anthrax? From testing. See, we always testing on our poor Mother Earth, ain't we? Always trying to destroy the Earth. Can't even go to an island now because they want to test for anthrax.
What if I told you the Titanic never actually sank? So the owner of the boat, JP Morgan, actually had 2 boats, the Titanic and the Olympic. The Olympic was older and more run down and was also in an accident. So the theory states that JP Morgan sank the boat on purpose because he knew he would get a lot of money from the insurance policy. But why sink the newly built Titanic when you could just scratch off the paint, swap the names, and sink the Olympic instead? But it gets even worse when you realize that JP Morgan's Titanic's business competitors were also on the boat, and not one of them made it out. And guess who wasn't on the boat? JP Morgan. He canceled just minutes before it left. And there was a man named James Fenton who worked on...
Pause. Look at my man's Dumbo ears. I can't even... Look at his ears, though. My man's heard the Titanic sinking from far away. Sheesh.
Building the boat and survived the sinking. And on his deathbed, his last words were, "The Titanic never sank. It was the Olympic." And he said he was told that if he ever said anything, something bad would happen to him.
Maps it will change.
Yo, the Titanic is kind of crazy, right? Because I never really learned about the Titanic when I was younger. The only information I had on the Titanic was from the movie. You know, anytime I think of the Titanic, I think about those two people out in the ocean and the whole little love story and the violin. That's the only information that I have about the Titanic. I didn't even know, you know, about the Olympic or, you know, all this backstory to it.
Change the way you see the world. This is a map of beavers in Europe over 100 years ago, and this map shows beavers in Europe today. It is perfectly legal for a landlord in any of these red states to refuse to rent to someone for being gay or transgender. The top map shows the most popular internet browsers in 2012, and the bottom map shows the most popular browsers now. Without touching a single piece of land, it is possible to sail from India to the USA in a completely straight line. This is a worldwide breakdown of all of the known billionaires across the world. Follow for more.
Things that are so much bigger than you thought.
The underneath of a ship.
That's a ship? Sheesh. No wonder they call it a ship. Thing's huge. Look at the propellers on that one. How do they even build these?
I'm sorry, NASA just found what? So Interstellar is now real. The NASA have just discovered a water planet 100 million light years away from Earth.
He said 100 million light years away from Earth. Please let me know. Do y'all think that we can actually see 100 million light years away and know exactly what's on that planet? I don't believe that's... I think it's a bunch of baloney.
Now to put that into perspective, 100 million light years is, well, like a billion years. So I don't think we'll be going there anytime soon. The surface of this planet is just complete water. There is no land whatsoever. But it gets even crazier. Every 11 days on this planet is 1 year on Earth. Yeah, literally like in the film. It's mental. We somehow got faster than the speed of light and managed to get there. If you spend a couple months on this planet, when you get home, all your friends and that are going to be old, and you're still going to be pretty much the same age. What?
Photos taken 100 years apart.
Run, rabbit, run, rabbit.
It looked way different back then.
Run, rabbit, run.
Same with Dubai. That looked like... Look at Dubai now.
Is having a really bad day. They were taking a picture of their ice cream when all of a sudden a seagull flew down and stole it. What are the odds? This guy got in his car and went to turn on his windshield wipers, but by accident he opened his sunroof and snow fell all over him. Okay, this is very unlucky. This person had to walk to work because there was a swarm of bees on his car. Next, this delivery driver...
Beyonce must have been in that car.
...didn't want the package to get stolen, so he threw the package through an open window. However, under the window there was a toilet and the package landed in it.
Who does that?
And this is insane. This old lady was watching TV when all of a sudden a person starts to fall through her ceiling. How does this even happen?
Athletes who got caught cheating. This goalkeeper ran pretty far from his net to try to save the ball, but he missed it, and he couldn't get back to the net in time to save the ball, so he decided to fake being unconscious. The medics ran out to check on him, but the refs realized he was faking it, so they gave him a red card. During a professional golf tournament, a player named Patrick Reed was hitting from the sand. And in golf, when you're hitting from the sand, you're not allowed to touch your club to the ground. But when he took his practice swing, he purposely hit the sand on his way back so he could get a better angle at the ball. This one isn't really cheating, but a football player bribed a ref with $1 as a joke. But the NFL didn't find it very funny, and they fined him $20,000.
3 things that don't sound right, but are actually correct. Number 3. Modern Christianity is actually a polytheistic religion. Since monotheism is a worship of only one deity while denying all others, that's not really what's going on. It's similar to something like Hinduism, a religion people usually wouldn't hesitate to call polytheistic, but the very nature of Christianity's polytheism is in the religion's name. As Christianity is only 2,000 years old, so by following Christ, God, and not to mention the Holy Spirit, it becomes polytheistic. And saying Christianity is monotheistic would imply that you're denying you would ever worship these two. Just like nearly all religions, there's one God that's more God than all the other gods, and he usually created everything, along with the other deities that are worshipped. It just so happened that the word polytheistic, in the West, now has negative connotations at times. But believe it or not liking a word doesn't simply just change a religion. Number 2. Compostable and biodegradable aren't the same things. Things like biodegradable wet wipes are actually just compostable, a process that requires extra chemical help. So whenever you flush them down the toilet, you're adding to your town's fatberg. Fats and oils cover the wipes, leaving them to stick together in the water pipes. Even the ones that claim that they're flushable add to your giant stinky fatberg. And number 1. The devil's lettuce can actually be physically addictive. The good thing is, it's only in chronic users, for people smoking at least every other day for 3 months. Withdrawal symptoms could be loss of appetite, difficulty regulating mood, sleep problems, cravings, physical discomfort, anxiety attacks, and more from your brain's physical dependence from adaptation. It's a side effect on how the brain works, and it being made in a lab or something advertised as natural doesn't really matter when you're introducing chemicals into the brain every day over a long period of time. It without a doubt will change your brain's natural chemical composition, as well as your sensitivity to the substance you're introducing, though like I said, only includes long-term daily lettuce smokers, but to a much further extent, dab takers. Cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, where stopping daily use causes severe nausea, vomiting, and abdominal pain, with the weird home cure of being in hot water being the only thing that curbs the symptoms. People with CHS will bathe and shower compulsively, usually for hours at a time and anywhere from 3 to 10 times a day. As you could imagine, hot water curing your violent vomiting episodes and extreme nausea pain, you might stay in the bath for 7 hours a day too. Though the lettuce is definitely still at the top of the safe recreational substance use list, every substance is going to have its side effects. Whether the community likes to admit it or not doesn't really matter, but what does is educating people before, not after, getting into daily substance use.
Yo, SpongeBob be tripping. Hey, I'll be honest though, I kind of had a feeling that the devil's lettuce was a little bit addicting, but I've never heard of anybody having severe withdrawal symptoms like what he was just talking about. Like, you stop smoking and now you got to take a hot shower 3 times a day? Nah, man. Never heard of that before. Let me know down in the comment section if you know anybody who has had severe withdrawal symptoms to the devil's lettuce.
This man was attacked by a shark, but instead of killing him, it actually ended up saving his life, and you won't believe how. In 2015, Eugene took his girlfriend and his 2 kids to California for a family vacation. As him and his daughter swam off the shores of Huntington Beach, he could sense something was wrong. Instantly, he felt a sharp pain in his back, and he was pulled down to the bottom of the ocean. A great white shark had attacked him and wasn't letting him go, but somehow Eugene managed to escape to the surface. He barely made it to shore and was bleeding everywhere. There was a massive gash in his back, but eventually it stopped bleeding. And Eugene didn't really want to ruin his family vacation, so he decided to not go to the hospital and just wait to get it checked out at home. A week later, when they arrived back at home, Eugene finally decided to go to the hospital. But when doctors scanned Eugene's x-rays, they could not believe their eyes. Doctors found a cancerous tumor, and thankfully they were able to remove it in time.
Scientists have just created what? And this could actually prove the theory that the universe is a hologram. Now this sounds fake, but honestly this is 100% true.
Hey, before we get into this, guys, how many of you believe in the hologram theory, that the whole universe is a hologram, right? That it's just light or images being reflected from our brain, nothing's really real. How many of you guys actually believe that? Let me know.
Flipping mental. So for decades, centuries, there's been talk about wormholes, what's possible, what's not, all the physics behind it, how certain things wouldn't work because it just wouldn't work with the physics of the universe. So researchers have just announced that they have created 2 minuscule black holes. Now these were simulated in a quantum computer, and they were actually able to send a message between them both. Now they were sending this message through what amounted to be in space-time, which is crazy. Now I know it sounds confusing, but yeah, this is where it gets crazy. They said that based on the quantum information that was teleported, a transferable wormhole appeared to be created. Yes, a wormhole. This is basically like the first step in like time travel and creating wormholes, which we thought was physically impossible because of the universe, but clearly not, which could prove the universe is a simulation or hologram, who knows. Because it was commonly thought that when this happened it would rupture space and time, but it didn't. Hit that follow button, I'll keep you updated.
This teacher is accused of getting with a 14-year-old student. Stephanie Peterson is 26 years old and is being arrested and charged. Authorities allege that a student told detectives that she would send him nude photos. Then she would pick him up from his house several times late at night. And the police found this all out after the boy told his parents about their relationship.
1 in a million coincidences. These trucks lined up perfectly on the highway to spell out Taylor Swift. These two ladies on the subway looked exactly alike and were doing the exact same thing. This is amazing. Out of all the leaves this blind boy could have picked in the field, he picked the 4-leaf clover. The odds of this happening are 1 in a million. This person took a photo at the exact moment this balloon popped.
No, that looks
This is
crazy.
insane. This person's cat looked identical to the cat on the food package. And this lady's dress matched perfectly with this tree to create a perfect camouflage.
That looked crazy.
This security video shows Jeremy Griffin walk into a substance abuse treatment clinic with an AR-15. He quickly fires one shot at the wall and yells at Ronaldo Beckford, the unarmed security guard, to get on the ground. But Beckford
let me get out of there.
towards the gunman and wrestles him into a corner, pins him up against the wall, and eventually drags him outside before other guards come to his aid. Griffin was arrested and charged with several felonies, including second-degree attempted murder, yet he has pleaded not guilty. But if it wasn't for Beckford, many lives could have been lost that day.
Shout out to Beckford. Yo, he just straight up acted. He said, yo, I gotta take this dude down. I'm not dying today. That was crazy.
The most terrifying sounds of war. If World War III actually happens, these are some of the sounds that you would probably hear. Firstly, countries would most likely invade with tanks, and this is what that would sound like. Next, if you hear a siren, this means there's bombs or rockets incoming. Finally, World War III would probably lead to nuclear bombings, and this is how it would sound.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of feel like we're in WW3 right now. Like, with what's going on, you know, and I feel like the attack is on us. Everyone's abandoning the dollar, you know what I mean? Like, that's just my personal opinion, but you guys can do your own research and, you know, let me know what you think. But I do believe that that we're in that WW3 stage right now. It's just not what we thought it would be.
Why is today the most depressing day of the entire year? So today, January 16th, is known as Blue Monday, which is the most depressing day in the world. Now, you may have heard this phrase before and not known what it means or why it's the most depressing day of the year, so let's have a look. Blue Monday originally actually came from a PR stunt, a company looking into when people were most commonly booking holidays and when they weren't booking holidays. But it is a real thing and makes a lot of sense. There are a lot of factors as to why it's the most depressing day of the year. One of the main ones is the weather. The weather is at its worst point in the year. Weather is pretty similar to how it is in December, but in December you have to build up to Christmas, New Year, there's lights up everywhere. Now, there's nothing. There's terrible weather. There's nothing to look forward to. Christmas is done, and everybody is going back to work and going back to school, which means people get down and fed up, leaving today as the most depressing day of the year.
This American Airlines flight was interrupted by sounds of moaning. Whispering, heavy breathing and moaning have been heard on several flights. American Airlines said a mechanical issue was responsible for the strange sound. Take a look at what this passenger recorded. And this is what he had to say.
The earliest sounds sounded like someone having, shall we say, gastrointestinal issues.
All right. Yo, what's going on with that? I've never heard any noises like that on a plane, and it's just random. Like, what's going on in the cockpit? For real. But yeah, guys, these are some of the most interesting TikTok facts that will blow your mind. If you like the content, don't forget to subscribe, turn your notification bell on, and until next time, YouTube, peace.